Hello, Libra. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Morgan Greer Tarot. Supportive Oracle Cards, Magical Spell Cards by Lucy Cavendish. Excuse me. Alright, what do we got for Libra? There's a lot of cards. Okay, mostly tarot cards, which is not good nor bad, but let's see what we got. There's a lot going on here. Starting off, I like it though. Feels good. 10 of Cups, 6 of Cups. You know what you're dealing with. Whatever situation this is, you have a history with the people involved to the point where it's not about liking or disliking. It's not about things going well. It's about knowing what to expect. Certain people are difficult to deal with, but at this point you know when that's going to be a problem, and you know when it's going to be kind of relaxed. You know how to say things. You know when you have to, you know if there's certain people you have to keep kind of information from because it's going to cause a problem. Instead of like avoiding a conversation face to face, you kind of have to avoid them altogether or make it look like you've been legitimately busy. Because I feel like you do have some information you're holding on to, but you're like, oh, if I tell this information, there's no way that's going to go across smoothly. And if I talk to this person and don't tell them and they realize that I knew, there's going to be problems with that. If they think I'm avoiding them, there's going to be problems with that. I have to look busy. I have to make it legitimately look like I got caught up in some things and I was just busy doing this and busy doing that, and I just didn't have time to talk to them. It's just the best way to do it, because this isn't something I should have to be stuck in the middle of. And that's kind of part of it. Like, I don't think I should be stuck in the middle of this. So I'm going to keep everything happy. I'm going to keep myself happy and everybody else by just keeping myself really busy and just centering on other things I got to get done. That way I don't have to be dragged into something that I don't feel like I should be dragged into. That's basically what's going on here. I don't want to be dragged into something is what I'm feeling. While this is going on, though, another reason you're getting the 10 of Cups, somebody else spills the beans is what I'm getting. The King of Swords kind of stomps into the room. I don't think you have to deal with it. Whatever this information is that you don't want to be the one telling people about, somebody else gets a hold of it and they're the one goes out there and spills the beans. You are legitimately busy, so you don't have to deal with it. You don't want to deal with it. You're kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna let the dust settle. I'm gonna let the dust settle on that. Once the dust is settled, we'll see. Because the situation at hand, I just feel like it gets too volatile, and you're just kind of like, I'm most effective after it settles. While it's going off, you go in there, you try to fix things, and it just seems to set off more landmines. Like, trying to navigate this situation, if you try to get in while it's happening, it's like walking through a field of landmines. You just set off more landmines, and it's just not good. It's not good at all. So what you decide to do is just wait. I feel like that's a great decision. It's hard for you to do that, though, I'm also seeing. But now, I get the dust does settle. Seems like the best decision. Okay, waiting for the dust to settle. The dust has settled. So people don't seem to be angry at you. This is like the second good reason why holding back really worked to your favor. First of all, you didn't step on all these landmines. You didn't set off extra problems. First of all. Second of all, nobody got mad at you because you just kind of were busy doing your own thing. So you're like, I wasn't even a part of this. How could you be mad at me? Like, I just stayed out of it. Now you're coming in afterwards just kind of like, oh, what's going on? You know pretty much what's going on. But you're trying to give people a chance to say their side without seeming like you already have an opinion. So you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Just so they can tell you how they feel about it so they can give your opinion. You don't want to like put it out there like, I heard this was going, I heard that was going. Because it might come across a little jaded, like you're having an opinion when you don't. You're like, with these certain people, I just let them tell me what's happening. Then I can see how they feel about it and where they stand. Okay, cool. Two of Cups is telling me people are very compatible with you. They're jiving with you. They're telling you what's been going on. Everybody's just giving you their opinion about how they saw it happen. You're noticing there's different ways. Like, it's almost like looking at a circus from 3 different angles. And the thing is, with a circus, if you think of a 3-ring circus, it all depends on which circle you were centering on. Somebody's like, oh my god, there's bears on tricycles. Oh, that's wonderful. Somebody else is saying, yeah, with the lions were jumping through fire hoops, rings of fire, whatever. And then the last one's like, yeah, there was a clown juggling. It was circling and jumping around on this unicycle, blah, blah, blah. So it's almost like you're getting 3 different stories, but you're also realizing there was a lot going on at once. And each person is explaining it how they experienced it, and it seems literally almost like 3 different stories. And you're like, you're still cool. You're like, okay. You're trying to find the common denominator, but you still got this 2 of Cups here. 2 of Cups is telling me nobody's like pulling you into the middle. Nobody's like pointing anything at you. Nobody's accusing you of anything. There's no aggressiveness coming at you. It's just people are very nice about sharing their experience. They're just like, oh, well, here's what's happened. Like, they're not expecting you to stand for or against anything. There is a problem here, though. And I'm getting glamour with beauty. Somebody here caused this whole craziness, and you already know what it is. You're also noticing that this person seems to be not... Like, nobody's pointing at this person. All these stories that you're getting, and you're just like, I knew this was going to happen, and I knew what was really happening, but I don't see anybody pointing out what's really going on here. Nobody seems to be pointing their finger in the right direction. What's up with that? So it's almost like the 3-ring circus was happening, but the ringmaster was nowhere to be found. And that's the thing. All these little things were going on, but the person who was starting these problems, starting these situations, nobody seems to be saying anything about the ringmaster. And you're kind of like, that's interesting. How come? And this is something you already knew beforehand. You're like, and then you're going back and you're like, I thought that the King of Swords here, whoever this was, I thought that they called that person out. Like, what's the deal? I'm getting glamour with the beauty. Like, this person, what they did was they just kind of like, they stepped right out of the situation. They just like stepped out. And everything that came apart, I feel like they had a part of. Like, all these situations, they had a part of that. But they just kind of like stepped out of the situation and just kind of went AWOL. And while things are falling apart, people are getting mad at each other. Meanwhile, the ringmaster is nowhere to be found. Very interesting. So all this is happening, but it's very short-lived is what I'm getting to. The Knight of Rods tells me there's a lot of activity, but it doesn't last very long. Okay, so this is interesting. When you figure out, like, it's like the person who's causing all these problems, it's like they're getting away with this scot-free. You've got the Devil card with the Psychic Protection, in the sense of, like, alright, so you didn't get dragged into it yet. But at the same time, you're annoyed, because you're like, the person who's really behind all this stuff, they're getting away with this squeaky clean, and you're like, that's not right. That's not right. They're not getting called out. Well, I thought they were. And it's like the King of Swords, it's like, I could have swore the King of Swords said something, and that's how all this started, but when you're hearing people talk about the situation, nobody's mentioning that ringmaster, and you're like, what's the deal with that? That's not fair. That's not right. And you're wondering, like, what? Like, are they literally, is it going to slide off of them like Teflon? Is that what's going to happen? You're worried about this. When they get the Psychic Protection, it's also kind of like, you're not caught up in the middle of it, but you're kind of like, you know more than people know you know, and you're just like, now what do I do? Do I just keep my mouth shut? Do I blow this in and then get dragged right into it? What do I do? It's a hard decision, because it's kind of like, if I do say something, does that actually fix anything, or do I just get, dragged down the stairs myself? Like, what's the point of that? King of Pentacles with the 9 of Cups. Somebody else knows what's going on here. And I feel like they're enjoying it. Why are they enjoying it? Somebody knows what the deal is, and they're just waiting for their moment or something. King of Pentacles is here, sitting pretty. And then this card here is knowledge. Like, the King of Pentacles knows what's going on and seems to be biding their time. Don't get caught up in the gender, but somebody knows that the ringmaster did what they did. Somebody has full full awareness, and they're not thinking anybody figured it out. Again, you're not saying what you know because you don't want to get dragged into this, at least not at this point. Do you know, you figure this out. I feel like you find out, you're aware of the King of Pentacles. At some point you become aware of this person. It doesn't have to be male, it can be any gender, but that they're sitting on the knowledge and they know what you know. They might even know a little bit more. And they're happy about it. And I feel like what you're looking at is you're like, why are they, because they seem to be very confident and comfortable. Why are they waiting? Why are they doing that? They seem to have a very like when I need this information, I'll use it to my benefit. But it will, and your question is, will that be benefit for just you, or will that be benefit for everybody? You got the Ten of Pentacles with the energy. I feel like you're talking to this person, and they're convincing you, stay out of the fight. Don't worry, I saw what happened, I know what happened. When the right time comes forward, I'll do what I need to do. It's not the time, because we need to do this the right way so that we can solve the problem and not just, nullify it out temporarily and give it a chance to recuperate and come back later. We need to solve this at the right time so we can solve it permanently. So I feel like they're giving you kind of like the ins and outs of it. And you're kind of like, I don't know if you're really sold on it, but you're kind of like, I don't really want to say anything anyway. I don't even know if it would. And part of you is like, I'm not going to go out there and say something just to start stuff. It's no point. If it's not going to make things better, why bother? So whether you believe this person or not, it's almost moot. It's kind of like saying something isn't going to make your life any better and it's not going to improve anything. So you're electing to kind of like stand to the side for now. You've got the World card here with the Five of Wands, which tells me you kind of review the whole situation. King of Pentacles says they know that they have it under control. They're going to move on it when they think is right. They're asking you just to move on like you don't know anything. They'll take care of everything. You don't need to do anything. And you're kind of like, you know what? I don't want the fight. I don't want the conflict. That's the Five of Wands. I don't want it. So I'm just going to let it go. The World card is telling me you're moving on like, all right, you know what? Done. Not doing it. Not going to be a part of it. All right. And I'm noticing this isn't over, but like the World card, it makes me wonder like what's going on here. Now, that situation is done. I feel like later, this King of Pentacles, whoever they may be, whatever gender they may be, is going to reapproach you later. I'm getting that with the Three of Wands. Like there's an advancement, something moving towards you. You know what, Libra? You seem to be quite good at getting into the know and understanding what's happening and seeing between the lines here. I have a situation I'm going to be getting involved with. I like your eyes and ears and your work ethic. I'd like you to be a part of this too. Would you join me in this endeavor, whatever this endeavor is? It feels very formal, by the way. Like it feels like almost official. Like they're being very, like they're trying to come off a certain way, like with a certain air of dignity. They're trying to come forward with that. I don't think that's bad. But like the Three of Wands coming in and then the Queen of Wands also. Something is being offered you. It seems to be coming forward fairly quickly. They want you to be a part of something. They're offering you a possibility. Things coming forward very quickly too. Fire, and then there's another fire card here as far as I'm concerned. The Chariot, which I want to say this is the Cancer card. I'm not 100% sure. It's just kind of slipping out of my mind. I don't think it matters in this reading. Because I'm feeling more fire. When I think of the Chariot running in, I think of like that action is fire, but it's interesting because Cancer is a water sign, so I don't really connect with that, but I think this is supposed to be the Cancer card, just in case that matters to somebody. You got the Chariot coming in with the Ace of Pentacles. You're being offered an opportunity, and I feel like you're grasping onto this, and you're kind of like, you know what? I need to know how this King of Pentacles works a little better. They have just offered me this opportunity. It looks pretty good. I could make out on this pretty well. Plus, I could get to know them a little bit better. I think I need to get a little closer to them to see how they work. And just maybe to see what else they might know that I don't know. Because they seem to be a little bit connected. And they might have information that I would enjoy. So you're choosing to take this person up on this. They like this. They love this. They're optimistic about your connection, and they see this as a victory. They feel like they won you over. When this first starts, what I'm getting is they think this is a victory, and they're not realizing that, you have a mind of, like, I don't think they get it. It's almost like they don't realize that you're able at sniffing out information and figuring things out. You can put two and two together. That's how you find your information. You're like, this, that, and the other thing. All that together makes me wonder if this is happening. So you go to see if you can prove or disprove it. It's kind of like, that's what I feel like. You're kind of figuring out a mystery. Like, that's happening and this is happening. And then that other thing, that seems to be... I wonder if this other fourth situation happened and created all of these three, because that would make sense to me. And that's kind of how you go into it, trying to figure things out. You think for yourself. You have a very active mind. You're an air sign, though. Air signs typically are stereotypically, I know it's stereotypical, but they're usually intelligent and they have their own ways of figuring things out. Two of Swords comes in. I don't know why I'm saying this, but sometimes people don't understand certain air signs, and certain air signs, they have a lot going on upstairs, but they have a hard time getting it out of their mouth. I've noticed that with certain air signs. I don't know why. Just in case somebody belittles you or tries to act like you're not as smart as you are, sometimes there's a lot going on upstairs that you just don't talk about. I don't know why we're saying that, because I feel like somebody's going to watch this and be like, well, I know a Libra or I know a Gemini, and I don't think they're that smart. They might be playing it coy. I don't know why that's coming through, but air signs are usually quite smart, even if other people don't understand it. Sometimes air signs talk above other people, not meaning to, but sometimes the conversation's so elevated that other people can't follow along with it. Just in case that matters. I don't know why we're throwing that in there. Continuing forward, as you're involved with this King of Pentacles energy, they're not telling you what's going on. It's almost like they've got you a part of the situation and they want to put you on a shelf and use you at their leisure. Well, that's not how that really works. And I feel like they're not going to figure that out for a little while, because you're not into making waves where you don't need to. So you seem to be blocked from the information that they have. They're not sharing information with you. They're just kind of holding you to the side as if they can use your expertise when they find it necessary. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you're gathering information. When you're involved in something, you listen, you pay attention. If something perks your ear up, you kind of dig down a little bit deeper and try to find out what that really means. If something just strikes you a little funny, you're like, that sounded a little different. Let me find out what that really means. And I feel like you're figuring out a lot of things. Whatever this new situation is, you're finding out a lot of the ins and outs. Somehow, the wheel turns in the environment, and all of a sudden, the King of Pentacles figures out that you know more than they thought you knew. And they don't understand how you did it. You know things that you're not supposed to know, or they think you're not supposed to know, and they don't understand how you know what you know. And they're like, how did you do that? I also feel like they're trying to get information from you. When this wheel comes forward, they're figuring out you know things that they didn't think you were going to know, and now they're trying to get that information from you. Not just what you know, but how did you figure it out? How did this information come to you? Who told you what? You know? I'm getting, you're kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. You kind of realize that, all right, you let something slip a little bit too much. Maybe you let something slip just a little too much. But I feel like you're kind of like, well, what do you know? Where do you get your information? And they're like, that doesn't matter. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, it does. Because if you're not going to tell me yours, I'm not going to tell you mine. Like, that's how this is played. I'm just going to play it coy. I'm going to play it coy. And I'm like, I don't know that. That's all I know. I don't know. I was just guessing. That's all. It just seemed to work out. I was just guessing. Between you and the King of Pentacles, see, because I feel you're holding back on saying how you figured things out. Because you literally figured it out. That's the thing. But you're not going to tell them what tipped you off to this and what tipped you off to that. Now, this is interesting, because this is sometimes used as Taurus. This is also got an earth feel to it. This kind of makes sense to me with the rules. What I'm getting with this is that between you and the King of Pentacles, you might end up at a stalemate. You got to be careful. You want to hold your ground, and you want to make sure if they want to know something from you, they have to give to you first, and then you'll give in return. You want to keep it a mystery, but how much you do and don't know. I know that may sound a little bit ridiculous, but this feels like this is a political game. if you just show your cards, you're going to be playing at a disadvantage. You're going to have to play it like a poker hand. With this person, the whole time you're dealing with them, it's going to always have to be like a poker hand. And you're going to have to make them show you something first of value, and then you'll match it. And that's how you're going to have to do it. Also, be very careful. Make sure you do have something of value to return. If they want information, make sure you have something before you play that game, or you want them to tell you something first. Otherwise, try to find a way just to wiggle out of the conversation. Don't do it. Because if you play the game where, they tell you something and you're like, well, I'll get back to you, this is going to implode on you. Don't do it. This is something where if they give you information, they immediately expect information right back. If you don't, it's going to be a one-time situation, and then there's going to be a problem. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. I feel you're going to more likely try to avoid that type of confrontation anyway. Just make sure if you play that game, make sure you have something of value to give back in return. If you're going to try to get them to tell you something first, you've got to have something of equal or greater value to return. That will keep that energy going back and forth. If you fail to give back equal or better, I just feel like it's going to implode. I don't know exactly how, but I feel like it's going to go against you and you're not going to like it. That's all I'm saying. All right, anything else? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.